Hello there. In this video, we are going to digitize a Redwork design. A Redwork design is an embroidery file that's just comprised of a sketch. So it's just kind of like outlines. They are really quick to stitch out and they have kind of a cool organic look to them. So I'm going to start with a bitmap image. Okay, so first I'm going to grab my sketch that I'm going to use as my basis. And again, I want to scale it up to be the size that I want to stitch it out. So let's say I want this to be about 4 inches. I can use my grid as a guide to show me how large this is going to be. And you can see that the area of the flower fits in to about 4 squares. Okay, now all I'm going to do is I'm going to draw with points, and I'm just going to draw over these shapes. I do have a red thread color selected, so my lines, I believe, are going to be red. Maybe not. Maybe they'll be black, but we can change them to be red. So I'm just going to draw some closed shapes as well as some open shapes. I'm going to get back to the beginning. This is a closed shape, so I click on the tomato. And again, you know, it doesn't really matter what order you draw these in. So my line is red. It's still a little bit hard to see. I can take the image and lower the transparency, and that's going to help my lines stand out a little bit more. And you're probably thinking, well, that's not perfect, but it doesn't really matter because this is kind of a sketchy drawing anyway. So I'm just going to continue to draw around these shapes, and again, it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. And I'm not doing all closed shapes here because I don't want my lines to overlap. You know, if they were all closed shapes, in the places where they're touching they're going to be double thickness, and that would look a little weird. So I'm just going to go around, and let's make this one. Oh, no, we want it to end right there. Okay. So this is a little bit tedious, however, it gets the job done. And again, I'm just using draw with points. It's gonna, by default, kind of give the line sort of a soft curve, and that's exactly what I'm looking for here. So you can see that I'm just kind of drawing in lines and trying to connect the different shapes. Okay, looks like we've defined all of the areas now. So I have a bunch of lines. I'm going to select all of these lines, and I'm going to turn them into a stitch line by selecting them all, and I shift selected to get them all, and then I click on this button here. And usually when I do Redwork designs, I make them a bean stitch with a 3-pass, and for some reason they're all different colors, but that's okay. If I click on the color tab here, I can say, you know, anything that was black, let's make it the red, and the red is in my color palette right now, so if I click on palettes, I can find that red right there. Okay, now one more step. If I tried stitching this out, do you see how, well, let me just play it. It's very slow. Let's speed it up a little bit. It's jumping around a bit. Well, that's not too bad, but there's big gaps. Like those are all going to be jump stitches, which is not going to be fun to trim if we have to trim our jump stitches. So when we're doing Redwork designs, one good strategy is to branch it. This is your branching tool up here. First, we need to shift select all of them again, and I'm going to click on this little guy right there. And now the way it stitches it out is much smarter. So let's take a look at how it's going to stitch it out. Much different than before, right? Because it's doing it in a way where it's not going to have jump stitches. Beautiful, huh? Sometimes if you try to branch something and there are too many disparate parts, it can't really do it. So you might need to branch chunks of your design and then watch where your start and end, move your start and your end point around so it'll naturally go to the next part easily. But for something as simple as this, usually you can get away with branching the entire thing. So no jump stitches, just one quick little sketch out. So let's take a look at what this stitches out like. Here is the final stitch out of the Redwork design. I think it looks pretty good as expected, stitched out super quickly. It took about, 2 minutes to stitch out, and it's about almost 4 inches tall. So this is a fun way to create designs that stitch quickly, but can be stitched quickly on a very large scale.